That was a terrible defensive effort.
As expected, the Bears lose again, 29-49 against the Dallas Cowboys. I was not expecting this many points.
The Bears coming into this one just put up 33 against New England. And, well, the defense played good the last two games. They played like trash in this one. Absolute garbage. And naturally, this performance comes right after the Bears trade away Robert Quinn to the Philadelphia Eagles for a 4th-round pick. Does absolutely nothing. It was just a wasted move. Poles better have something in store with the massive cap he has. This has to be a trade that will lead to something like a Roquan Smith extension or a big free agent signing, because you cannot just give Robert Quinn away for only a 4th-round pick. And so Dallas scores on their first 4 possessions. They score a touchdown on their first 4 possessions of the game. So by that time, like 28 points in the first half, you can't let that up if you're a defense. And to add on to that frustration, Bears only scored 7 by that point. When Dallas scored their 4th touchdown, it was 28-7. And so the Bears getting the balls to start the second half was going to be huge if they even want to dream about getting back into this game. And well, they did score before the end of the half. I'll get to that in a minute. I do want to hark on the defense a little bit more before I start getting into the offense. The Bears defense let up 14 points in the first 3 quarters each. That's 42 points. That's 42 points. What happened? And they scored another one. They scored 49 points in this game. What is the defense doing? You know, the defense is usually part of the team that we can usually rely on to keep us in games. But what happened? It's like they disappeared. I don't get it. They played awful in this one. And got ran over by the Dallas offense. No Zeke, and it didn't matter because Tony Pollard had 3 touchdowns in this game, including the killing blow with about 10 minutes to go in the game on a 3rd and 1. Like, literally, the play design, the way the play started out, it looked like they were going to tackle him for like 3-yard loss. But all of a sudden, he finds a hole and boom, there he goes. And he's out in front and gone. And that was the game right there. If they stopped him on that 3rd down, the offense would have gotten the ball back, and they wouldn't have. It wouldn't have been. They would have still had a fighting chance. And speaking of the offense, they played pretty well today. I will give credit where credit is due. Look, if the defense didn't let up 49 points, this offensive performance would look so much better. But you know what? They almost scored 30 points again in back-to-back weeks. I like the strides I'm seeing with the offense. The offense did play well. 29 points. Like, for this offense and the way that this team has operated for however long, 29 points in a game like this, not something I'm going to bat an eyelash at. I do strongly believe that this game and this loss is not the fault of the offense. It's more on the fault of the defense, letting up 49 points rather than the offense not scoring enough. Well, technically the defense only let up 42 because David Montgomery fumbled the ball, which then Micah Parsons took and ran in for a score. Which, the fact that no one touched him down was a stupid idea. Both Mooney and Fields should have touched him down. But you know what? They didn't. And, I mean, not like that touchdown really mattered that much in the long run right now. But, I mean, yeah, it's just frustrating because the offense, when they were down 21 points, pulled back in this game, scored a touchdown. Fields did throw an interception, bad interception at the end of the first half. Got reversed. Fields got a mulligan. Very next play finds N'Keal Harry for his first touchdown with the Bears. Love to see it. Very next play, very first play for Dallas, picked off by Eddie Jackson. And that was the best the defense did on this. That was the best the defense did. It was a one-play drive, and they produced a takeaway. Bears took 2 shots to the end zone, didn't connect, unfortunately. They settled for 3, so 17-20 at the half. They got the ball to start the second half, didn't score. Dallas then punted, I believe. And then Chicago went down and scored again. So, with Khalil Herbert. So, honestly, the offense fought their way back in this game. The team fought their way back in this game down 21 early. But the problem was they couldn't keep it close. When they got back within, 4 or 5? They couldn't finish. They couldn't take the lead. And the team, I don't want to say fell apart, but the gap widened once again as Dallas was able to find their stride once again. And yeah, that was it. That was all she wrote in this one. Justin Fields had a good game. Did have that bad interception that did get turned over, so it doesn't count against him. But outside of that, really one throw. He looked pretty solid in this game. 17 of 23, 151 yards, averaging about 6 yards per pass. 2 touchdowns, no picks. Was sacked 4 times, unfortunately, but had a pass rate about 120 in this game, which for Justin Fields, best he's done all year. Best he's looked all year. And, I'll give him credit where credit is due. I will say, had a terrible game against Washington. Looked good against New England. And he looked good here. I wouldn't say it was Fields' fault that the Bears lost in this one. Again, more that the defense let up 42 points in this game rather than the offense blowing chances. The offense just can't keep up when you let up 42 points on the defensive side of the ball and then have another defensive touchdown on top of it. When the other team scores 49 points, you're not going to win a game. It's not happening unless you're in one of the highest scoring games of all time. But it was brutal because the offense didn't look terrible. They're actually converting on some passes. Kmet got a touchdown. N'Keal Harry got a touchdown catch. So, I don't know. The offense didn't look that bad. The rushing attack did struggle a little bit today. But, they found their stride, though. And I said they struggled a little bit because it felt like, especially compared to last week, they weren't getting the same, big giant runs all the time. But they still managed over 200 yards rushing for the 3rd straight game. It's the first time since the 60s, since before Peyton, that the Bears had done this as a team. So, Herbert was 1 yard shy of a 100-yard day. Fields did enough on the ground again. The running offense was not also... The offense played fine. I think they got about almost 400 yards of offense. That's the Bears offense almost getting 400 yards and scoring 29 points. Doesn't matter because they lost by 20. And that's the most frustrating part. Offense played well. Bears had 371 yards of offense in this game. Dallas had almost 450. And the point disparity is 20. It would have been 13 if Micah Parsons does not run that in and then the defense comes up with a stop. It could have been a 3-point, Who cares? Doesn't matter. Parsons took it to the house. 7 touchdowns, man. Defense. What happened? Seriously. You let up 14 and 12 in the 2 prior weeks. You let 3 touchdowns in 2 weeks. And then you let up 7 in 1 game. I don't know what they did, what the defense side of the ball did in terms of planning, but obviously they were totally unprepared for this game. I get you produced 4 takeaways last week. Doesn't mean you can get complacent. You got 1 takeaway in this one. Doesn't matter. You let up 7 touchdowns. Prescott had a field day. It's just brutal what we saw in Dallas. Yeah, and it's not like, the Bears offense just didn't have the ball much. They had the ball for over 36 minutes in this game. The Cowboys ran up almost 20 fewer plays than the Bears did. They averaged almost 8 yards a play. 8 yards! Bears defense, this is a game that you want to forget and move on. Or you want to replay that thing over and over again so it gets ingrained in your head and what you screwed up on, so you do not have something like this at all for the rest of the year. Because if you have a game like this again, I'm gonna be really frustrated, because I've always looked at, like, this is the Bears. The Bears have always been a better defensive team than an offensive team, but the offense was way better than the defense in this game. I mean, both teams had 200-yard rushing games. This was a game that just had all the offense that you could. But for me, it wasn't even an exciting game, because the Cowboys jumped out early. Bears tried to come back. That was the most interesting part of the game. And then when the Cowboys broke back out, I was like, okay, it's over. I don't care if you put up 400 yards. Both teams put up 400 yards. If the game is always at like 14, 21 points difference, it's not close. It's not interesting. And so this was just kind of boring. It's like, great, defense can't get a stop. Great, we can't convert on third down. Cool. That touchdown for Al. It's like it was inevitable at that point, especially in the first half. But I mean, they scored a touchdown on that first drive. Bears went 3 and out, thanks to a penalty, kind of. And I mean, the Cowboys went down again, and it's already 14-0. I'm like, okay, all right, down 14. Good job, boys. Like, I knew it was over at that point. I'll give them credit for not quitting, but they almost felt like they did. They came back to make it a one-possession game. It almost felt like they gave up afterwards, because Dallas scored another 3 touchdowns. I don't know. When Chicago had the ball and it was the end of the third quarter, my mind was like, what if this is like Detroit in 2020? The first reaction video I ever made, which was the Bears down 17, I believe, going into the fourth quarter in Detroit, week 1, 2020, and then winning. And I was like, you know what? This is how you come back from a 3-possession deficit. This is how this team's going to do it. They're going to score really early. If they can hold the Dallas defense, then all of a sudden it's a one-possession game. It depending on then they'd have to score again. But I just, and then it was at that 3rd and 1 that Pollard ended up taking for a touchdown. I was like, okay, the Bears can get a stop here. Maybe they'll have a shot to make it a one-possession game. Pollard runs for a touchdown, and it's over. Game's over. There's still 10 minutes to go, and it's like, there's no point in watching the last 10 minutes if there's no way they're going to win. It's not like they're playing Detroit or Atlanta. They're not going to come back from 3 positions down in less than 10 minutes. It's not going to happen. So, there are some positives. Most of the positives in this game are going to the offense, and most of the negatives are going to the defense, which is not usual for this Bears team. Usually it's the other way around, because the offense usually doesn't do really that good. They can't score any points, and so the defense lets up 16 points, and the Bears lose. But they flipped the script in this one. Offense looked pretty good, almost got 400 yards of offense. Defense let up over 400 yards of offense, almost 450 yards of offense, and 49 points were scored against the Bears. That's all there is to it. So they got Miami next. And you talk about an electric offense, Tua's throwing a Waddle and Tyreek Hill. If they cannot contain Hill or Waddle, it's going to be very similar to what we saw here in Dallas. They needed to be, the defense needs to do a lot of work so they can contain Hill and Waddle if they want to have any shot at winning this game. Bears offense, they looked good again, but this does not mean that they can just get complacent. They got to keep improving and keep the consistency. If they can perform like this and they're scoring almost 30 points a game, They'll win a lot more football games than they will if they score about 20 or under 20 a game.
And third down efficiency is something the Bears can really help them. They're 6 for 15 in this game. Dallas went 9 of 11. They only failed 2 third down conversions in this game. The Chicago Bears need to do better defensively to stop third downs. Because you saw how the Bears offense looked so much different when they were just able to convert third down after third down after third down. And so when your defense can't get off the field, you let up all those points. And it's not like the offense just wasn't giving them, enough time to rest in this one. They were actually having substantial drives. The defense just played bad in this one. And that's the bottom line.
So all in all, this one falls more to the blame of the defense rather than the offense. And they've got a really tough ask against Miami and that explosive offense. They should do better on the run game. I mean, it's not, going to be easy as well. I mean, Raheem Mostert and Chase Edmonds is a good one too. But the focus has to be in the secondary and containing Hill and Waddle. And then, and even out of those two, you have Mike Gesicki at tight end. You got to be good at doing that. There's so much that the defense needs to work on now. And a performance like this makes me very nervous for next week. And so, yeah, even if they look bad next week, they have Detroit at home. So if they look bad again next week, what will make me think they'll beat Detroit?
It's probably just because Detroit's a bad road team, but, regardless, if the offense can keep up this progression, they can win a lot more football games this year than I would expect. But if the defense continues to look like they did this week, they're going to lose a lot more. And, well, they're going to be losing a lot down the stretch here, but, yeah, they're going to be losing a lot more. We're almost halfway through the season now. It's kind of weird. It feels like it's gone by so fast for some reason. But it also just felt like it's gone really slow. I don't know. But we're 8 weeks through the year, 3-5. I mean, you get Miami, you get Detroit at home, and you're in Atlanta. Those are probably the 2 most winnable games for the rest of the year. And then you go play MetLife to play the Jets, which initially I would have looked at like, okay, that's a pretty winnable game. The Jets have played pretty well this year, so I don't know if I want to feel super confident about that. And then Green Bay at home. So, I mean, they got to do something. Then again, they could also just want to try and they wouldn't try and tank. That's not NFL decides and is very enforcing on anti-tank rules and whatnot and anti-tanking. But if they suck, whatever, they'll get a good draft pick. But where I think they'll go with it, I don't know. But bottom line is, we're halfway through the season. They've won 3 games. It's not as bad as it could be, but it's going to get worse.
So the Bears now sit with the same record as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and if Aaron Rodgers does not find a miracle to beat the Buffalo Bills, the Bears will still be the same record as Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers at 3-5. Green Bay still has the tiebreaker because they beat us, but I mean, you can start seeing the landscape changing in the NFL. This season's been kind of wacky. I think the shifting of power is going from the NFC to the AFC faster than we think. So the NFC has looked really kind of not great this year. Miami next week. Big ask for the Bears to go home and win against Miami. High-flying offense. They can put the points up on you. But seeing how Detroit was kind of close with Miami this morning, they may have a better shot than some people may think. But, if they just can keep it close and they can put themselves in a position to win, then they can very well have a shot to win this game. So yeah, I got nothing else. That's going to do it for me. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and then hit that subscribe button if you want to see more reactions from me. I will see you guys next time.